right?
How about wash your hands is the first thing she says.
Oh, no.
I don't know who this person speaking now is, but I don't. Well, I just want to let's just identify first because she could have the. She's the director of the Department of Health.
Perfect.
Well, she's the picture of it. So it seems
Amy Klobuchar at the Culinary Union Forum trying to bond with some of the union members who were there to support her.
And this is how a very successful politician doing well in the presidential polling for the Democratic nomination.
For now, yes. She's
elected a U.S. senator, serving in the U.S. Senate. She sits down in front of some Hispanic/Latino. I know I always say the wrong one, so I say them both. And she decides to let them know that when she was in the 4th grade taking Spanish.
Oh, yeah.
My name wasn't Amy Klobuchar. My name was Elena. All true.
About me, my name is Amy. When I took Spanish in 4th grade, my name was Elena. They gave me the name me llamo Elena,
right?
Because I couldn't roll my R's very, very well, and so it was Elena.
Right. Now, I was wondering why you guys ain't laughing yet, because I told you that my name was Elena, and I'm trying to break out of this stereotypical Minnesota thing. So I want you to know if you don't laugh at my jokes, I'm going to come out there and shiv you. How about that? Would that be great if I come out and shiv you or shank you? How about it? I love J-Lo. She's the best. On the Floor is in my iPod. I'm Amy Clover. It's great to be with you guys today. Oh, hold on. My phone's ringing. Hold on. Hello? Yeah? Right, you're listening to it now? Uh-huh. A jackass? Really? You think I do sound like it? Okay. All right. God love you. I gotta go. Hey, adios.
Today I'm announcing that we have filed an additional 10 prosecutions of businesses who, after warnings, have failed to comply with the mayor's Safer at Home order.
That's L.A. City DA Mike Feuer announcing yesterday the prosecution, you notice, of 10 additional businesses. I guess businesses deemed non-essential. And first they were going to cut off their water and power. Well, first they were going to send ambassadors to these businesses.
Right.
You know, people like Disney ambassadors with that.
To give them the what for, right.
That's right.
Yeah.
And apparently, I guess some things, or the way we characterize Mike Feuer, I said he gets into his comfort zone when he talks about prosecuting people.
Yeah.
I guess I upset a prosecutor who works for Mr. Feuer, and this would be Patrick on the Morning Answer. Brian and Jennifer. Hi, Patrick. Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you,
Thanks
sir.
for the call. And, you know, I'm sure we
You're
probably
welcome.
are going to I think we're going to probably disagree a bit, but
By the way,
thank you for your service to L.A. We appreciate
You've
that.
heard of social distancing? You ever gotten on the phone with someone and felt 6 feet apart? Go ahead, sir. Please, Patrick.
All right, well, I just wanted to point out first that Mr. Feuer is the city attorney in Los Angeles. The city attorney is charged with prosecuting criminal misdemeanors, which I have done for 25 years.
I bet. Now, okay,
So,
yeah.
I don't understand, you know, there is a point in time where you go out, you warn people, they're in violation of an ordinance, and they refuse to comply, then the only real opportunity or the only real avenue they leave open to us is to begin criminal prosecution.
So, Patrick, is your office arresting homeless people or prosecuting homeless people for not following the orders of Eric Garcetti?
First of all, I work in a specific function. I'm a line deputy. I'm in court every day. To my knowledge, we prosecute homeless people when they violate laws regarding domestic
Well, by
violence.
being out on the street without a face covering, they're violating laws. Patrick, I think, and I'm glad you
But
called,
I don't think
because
any-
I think the inequity here is the problem that frustrates me, because you have a city that is saying to businesses who are trying to stay alive, don't be in business. Okay, well, there's a constitutional issue for the city to impose that on people and take away their freedoms, I believe. I don't think that it's necessarily constitutional, but you can't have one set of laws for business owners and another set of laws for people who are out there on the street. statute. It's the same message that our local governments are sending to us when they arrest business owners, yet they're letting criminals out of jail early because they don't want them to get the coronavirus. You can understand how that seems a bit unfair to residents, right?
Again, I'd remind you, I've been a prosecutor for 25 years.
All right, I'd remind you that...
I've been one for 25 seconds, Patrick.
Hold on, Patrick. There's a few... hold on, sir. Counselor, since you work for us, there are a few questions our listeners probably deserve answers to. So, as the guy...
Again, you're putting me in an uncomfortable position.
No, you're okay. You don't...
The entire office.
No, you're not speaking for the office. You're speaking for a guy on the phone named Pat. Look,
and Brian always goes with the defendant. I mean, you have to understand,
I'm the
Patrick,
liberal.
He's the liberal. He always goes for the defendant no matter what they do.
I listen to you guys every morning.
All right,
and we thank you.
So here we go. Permission, Your Honor, to approach the prosecutor. Permission to approach?
Permission granted.
Judge Horn. Counselor, you said that these businesses that are deemed non-essential, they're opening up and they're visited. How many times are they visited before the city attorney proceeds with prosecution? How many times? And who is it that shows up, may I ask?
Again, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to plead. That's outside of the purview of what I do for the office.
You have you have no idea how
I don't.
Let me ask a question first.
No, I don't.
Let me ask. Hold on. I'm just asking you. I'm asking you, sir.
We actually love you, Patrick.
We do love you.
I just want lots of pressing questions.
I just want to know how many times the business is visited, typically before prosecution begins. It's a fair question.
I can't answer that question. I don't know.
Do you have an idea?
I know they're visited.
We know that if somebody doesn't pay their rent, the sheriff can come and padlock the door, and they can't get into their residence. You asked our screener, it's up on the screen, what would Brian and Jennifer suggest we do instead of prosecuting? How about padlocking the business door? Because you have people suffering who are without income, and now they have to pay for legal defenses because LA City's going after them in the city attorney's office. Wouldn't that be a reasonable kind of middle ground?
Well, I agree with you. There needs to be middle ground. I do think, and again, I haven't prosecuted these cases personally, but I do think from what I understand is there is a variety of options given to business owners who are not obeying the ordinance, which is a tiny minority.
Yeah, it wasn't from the go-go 90s, as I often speak of. It was that was a time when I was, nothing.
You okay? Just take a deep breath. It's going to be fine. I know this is emotional for you.
I was a fast food connoisseur in the 90s. Nothing could go wrong. In the mid-2000s, I was out late one evening, and here in Los Angeles, the record will reflect, I just don't remember what McDonald's it was, but the actual dining room was closed, so you couldn't get in. But that drive-through window was open.
It was open.
And I needed 2 burgers, no mustard, McNuggets, fries, and a Sprite. So I walked up to the drive-through window and explained my situation.
Did you get arrested?
No, but I was asked to leave.
Okay.
You feel better now?
I do actually feel better. That is not safe.
Last time I share a sweet story with you.
Do you remember Scott Peterson?
I do. Scott Peterson of Modesto.
Scott Peterson is a convicted murderer.
Scott Peterson maintained his innocence, but in a trial that electrified the country, he was found guilty of murdering his wife.
I was in Times Square when that verdict came out, and as soon as people started realizing that the verdict would be announced, people were just clamoring into bars. I remember sitting in a bar in New York City, right in Times Square, waiting for that verdict to come out.
Out of habit, O.J. Simpson put on a jumpsuit. It was like everyone thought.
By standing on the graves of the children of Sandy Hook, saying they...
Here it comes when Piers glares at Ben and says, "How dare you?"
Don't seem to care enough about the dead kids. If they cared more about the dead kids, they would agree with you on policy. I think we can have a rational political conversation about balancing rights and risks and rewards of all of these different policies, but I don't think that what we need to do is demonize people on the other side as being unfeeling about what happened in Sandy Hook.
How dare you accuse me of standing on the graves of the children that died there? How dare you?
I've seen you do it repeatedly, Piers.
Like I say, how dare you?
That was the first time. They loved that so much.
That was like...
It was great television.
The first day of the American Revolution.
Oh, was it really, Alicia?
Last night was a little more tame, but still entirely entertaining.
Ben Shapiro and Piers Morgan, you showed up there. You saw him face to face?
Oh, yeah.
How was the boss? Was he warm to? Does he shake your hand?
Yeah, she was much nicer this time.
Much nicer this time.
First time, he was much less happy.
Ben, let me ask you, just totally not relevant. Is Piers Morgan a tall man?
He's probably an inch taller than I am.
Big guy, right?
Yeah, he is big. He's built wide.
Built kind of Whitman style?
I don't know. He's
Sure. Okay, here's more of Ben Shapiro and...
Brian, one more thing.
Go ahead,
When
please.
you didn't understand when the president didn't tell all the people how serious the COVID virus was, I was an airline stewardess. The pilots called us up front. We had a bomb on the airplane. So all we told the passengers is that it's an emergency.
Jeanette, will you call back and tell us about the bomb? Because wow. I'm into that.
I think that she
story.
said that it might have just been a guy who had some allergies, but they all reacted like it was an explosive or something.
I got to hear more.
Strange, right? Do you know
Thank you for
that there are ways to have steady, abundant income for all the years of your retirement? You can with our friend David Ortiz of Ortiz World Wealth. Most people think it's safe to put their money into annuities, but right now they're finding out their money is locked up for 10 years. It's only earning them a minimal amount.
And that's right. And many of our listeners, Brian, wanted to get a second opinion on their annuities. Kind of like this election, we need a second opinion.
Yes,
many of them.
I would like to sort of restructure all of this.
Many of them are less than a year old. Some are 3, 4, or even 5 years old. Once they receive their first statement, which is a year after they open their account, they begin to realize that they're hardly making any money, maybe only 1% or less, like you Biden voters, because what was sold to them was a product that had other things attached, like Kamala Harris, and it actually cost them money. So the only way to get out of these is to systematically transfer their money and votes into something else. Now, that's not to say there aren't annuities out there that do perform. There are, but you need to find out, and that's where our friend David Ortiz comes into play.
So what's your situation? Maybe $3 million lower than you'd like to have? Call David Ortiz, president of Ortiz World Wealth, at 844-584-PLAN. That's Ortiz World Wealth at 844-584-PLAN. Govern smarter, live better. Plan smarter, live better. 844-584-PLAN.
You voted for who in 2016? Fair to assume, since you're listening to this program, it was Trump?
Donald Trump?
No.
Not bad, darling.
You voted for Hillary Clinton.
I'm the only person on the radio in this entire broadcast network spanning 7 continents that voted for Hillary Clinton and says it on the air.
Yeah, a lot of them just hide it. Okay, Hillary Clinton. Do you always wear that mask, Whitman, when you're outside?
What does that have to do with Hillary?
It's the same question you were asking
yes,
Richard.
Yes.
You do not. I saw you this morning. You were not wearing the mask.
I was at the door waiting.
So when do you choose not to follow the law, Whitman?
When I'm ready to gain entry to the building, and I have to.
You're supposed to wear a mask in the building. That's the rule of the building. So why weren't you wearing the mask?
Because I was perspiring and I had to.
So because of your personal discomfort, you chose not to follow the law.
Jennifer,
should we talk about your taxes? Do you pay those every year?
That's it. I've taken too much and enough.
I like how he takes his important stuff. He leaves.
Have a very Merry Christmas.
He leaves his purse, but he does have his Coca-Cola. So he's got all the important